Yesterday was my first day back to work after being off for 2 weeks. This is kinda important. One of my coworkers had gotten engaged the week before I left. When she announced at work, we all did the congratulations and happy for her type of things. I thought it was over. So when I left for vacation, the last I knew, no plans had yet been made. Then yesterday when I went back to work, my boss Kim and best friend Laura said that coworker Claire was looking for me. I asked what was up and they weren't sure, but she was carrying a little gift bag. A few minutes later Claire found me and asked how my vacation was. I was telling them about it and she cut me off and said she had a very important question to ask. She handed a little gift bag and asked if I would be her best man of honor for her wedding. I thanked her and told her that typically this would traditionally go to a close female relationship. She responded that there was nothing traditional about her wedding, so it was good. I looked over at Laura and Kim, who were both trying to keep from laughing. I again thanked her, congratulated her, and told her that I wasn't interested in being part of her wedding party and that I would be happier being a guest in the audience. I swear when I said this, it was when we watched her entire demeanor changed and a switch flipped. She went off saying that I have to be in her wedding and that she doesn't understand why I would say no. I told her that we only knew each other for a short time and that I had no interest in trying to plan parties, dinners, and shopping trips. She told me I needed to think about it and she would get back to me later. I told her go for it, but my answer will be the same. She walked away and I looked at Kim and Laura and asked what the ever-loving fresh creepy hell was that? Kim started to laugh and said she didn't know. But saying no like I did might have saved me a lot of headaches in the future. Laura made the comment that she went straight to Bridezilla and this was a look into what she was going to be like. Claire came back today, however she went with a different approach and handed me a list of what she wants me to do and her vision of how she sees things. I asked her why she gave me this and she said that as her man of honor these were my responsibilities. I told her again that I was not going to do any of this. She started again that she needs me to do this and how much fun it was going to be. Then she asked, haven't you ever wanted to be part of something special? I told her I was. I was a nurse. Enter Kim, who could sense that I needed help and told Claire one of her patients needed her help. I told Kim that if this keeps up I might need her help. She said she was already watching it and would intervene if I needed it. What did I miss? We aren't that close. She just transferred down to my unit from a different unit 6 months ago. I had no idea who she was until that point. Laura is saying that she is close in age to me and she might feel that to be enough of a connection. Did I miss something? When we are asked, are we supposed to automatically gush and jump up and down in excitement? Why is saying no a bad thing? Update 1. Hey everyone. First, I apologize. I never thought this was going to go as crazy as it did. I want all of you to know I read all of your responses and responded to as many as I was able to. Thank you all for your amazing insights and comments. Many that made me laugh. Which I needed. I have been sick and that really helped to cheer me up. I had to meet with my lawyer today regarding family issues. Editor's note: Oop goes into detail about those issues in other posts on his profile, but they weren't relevant here so I didn't include them. My neighbor / best friend / coworker Laura took me. I really felt awful and driving wasn't a good idea. We were talking about this on the way and we both were asking a lot of the same questions that all you were asking. The big one was that we were asking about the circumstances of her transfer. She went from med-surg 4 watts to the ER. That is a huge change. I have to work tomorrow so we will see what happens. But Laura and I are going to ask him about the transfer and raise a couple of other concerns. After I got home from the meeting with my lawyer, I slept for the rest of the day. Many of you asked about if Claire and I hang out outside of work. The answer is no. I really don't know anything about her. I have helped her a few times with patients and different things, but our relationship is 100% purely work related. That was why I was so surprised that she asked me to do this. That is why I was so surprised that she asked me about being the man of honor. I have a very small friend base and in all honesty I like to keep it that way. I really have no interest in being a part of this. I'm not a wedding person. After reading so many Bridezilla stories and hearing about over-the-top weddings, they have become a huge turn-off to me, spending tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars with insane unrealistic demands that turn people against each other. Why? I would rather use that money and spend that time planning my next trip or vacation. Many people said that I was being used as a token or prop in a wedding. Or a gay best friend. I never really thought about it. I admit that I'm out and proud. But I'm not going to just pretend to be someone's friend just so they can fulfill some kind of fetish they have for wanting to have a gay best friend or some kind of status she feels the need to fulfill. It takes me a lot to get offended, but if this were actually the case then I would really be rather offended. I was not put on the face of the earth to be someone's play toy. A lot of people have said that maybe she doesn't have a boyfriend. She does. She has brought him in before. If she has any insecurity I don't understand it. She is attractive, smart and nosy stuff. So I'm at a loss as to why she is acting like this. A lot of people say go to HR. I'm starting that process with my boss Kim. She is completely aware of the situation being with us when all this happened. She has told me that she is watching the situation and will jump in if I need her to. I trust her completely. While Kim and HR can control the situation from the hospital, they can't control the situation from a personal level if she were to maybe follow me home or a situation like that. So I think that covers it all. I wish I could say this is over. Update 2. I'll explain some background for you to understand this update. I was born into a family where I was referred to as an issue that needed to be dealt with. I lived in the shadows of my sister, who was the child my parents wanted. They wanted one child, which was a girl. That way dad had his daddy girl and mom had mommy little princess. Then I came along. Keep in mind that I'm 23, so back then my parents had options but chose to not use any of those options. So instead my parents raised my sister, and I was raised by a nanny who even to this day is one of the biggest influences in my life, and I am so grateful for her. She helped me with so much. I finally realized that all these years later, that by being referred to as an issue that needed to be dealt with, that they stripped me of my humanity and individuality and self-worth as a person. I think that's why I've worked so hard to establish myself in my career and in my life. As a way to become a person again and not just be that issue that needed to be dealt with. This past Thursday things came to a head with the bridezilla known as Claire, and the truth came out. My best friend Laura has been sticking close to me when we worked together if Claire was to start something. We weren't sure if she was going to leave it alone or start up again. I was really hoping that it was done. But she had to try once again. I've been sick and I had a busy morning, so I really just wanted a few minutes to go to the bathroom, grab a quick snack and maybe breath. Claire came up and had her list and asked if I had a few minutes to talk about the wedding planning. I looked at her and told her again no, that I was not interested in being part of her wedding and that I was not going to help in any way, and she needed to drop the subject and leave me alone. Again she went into the who thing of how I was going to do this and how much fun it was going to be. Here we go with that line all of you loved the first time. Why in the ever-loving fresh creepy hell is it so important for me to be your man of honor? I'm not interested and I'm not doing it. It is as exactly as pretty much all of you told me it would be. She was just planning on using me as a token or a play toy. She took all of the fucked up gay stereotypes that are out in society and put them into one sentence. What modern liberal woman isn't going to have a gay bestie on her arm for special events? I felt everything in my stomach move and a wave of nausea come over me, and I felt like I couldn't get to the bathroom fast enough. This pissed Laura off to no end. Laura is really kinda like the overprotective sister that I wish I would have had, and took Claire off to visit our boss Kim and laid it all out. Everything that was said. While I wasn't in on that conversation, Laura and Kim filled me in on what was said. Kim came to check on me and I was still hiding in the bathroom. She knocked on the door and asked if she could come in. I asked her for a bottle of water first. While I was waiting I realized two things. I realized why I chose to not hang out with her and why I didn't like her. I couldn't figure out why I didn't like her, just that there was something that gave me the heebie-jeebies. But I realized that I didn't like her because she is a different version of my sister. While Claire is educated and employed, she doesn't care about other people and their feelings. She is like my sister in the sense that if she wants something bad enough she will figure out how to get it. The second thing I realized was that she did exactly what my parents did to me. She completely dehumanized me and reduced me to an entity. Just kinda turned me into a token or a thing for her. I think the word that best describes it is a play toy. What really gets me is that just like my sister, Claire doesn't think she did anything wrong and I'm being too sensitive and a delicate snowflake. The next day an emergency meeting was held at work and Claire is being suspended pending investigation and a new transfer is being looked into. Kim made the request for her to be terminated. The director of emergency nursing said this was a last resort, but she was going to be looking into options which could be sending her to a new hospital or facility. This didn't go over well with me. I asked what would happen if she did the exact same thing to someone different. She didn't really give me an answer. But she said she still needs to look into a few things and at this point she is suspended. Anyway, here it is. I'm still pretty sick and had to work this weekend. If I can, I'll respond. I want to thank everyone for all the amazing support. I am going back to my lawyer to see if he can figure out how to send her a cease and desist letter to make sure she doesn't contact me. I'm heading to bed. Have a good night. I keep forgetting to thank my boyfriend. He has been with me on this, but more in the background. First when we were laughing about it. But when everything Thursday happened he was there as well. Elle was able to get him away from his unit for a little bit for the it will be okay boyfriend hug. He stayed the night with me a couple of nights as well, also helping with me being sick. So yeah. I'm very lucky to have such a great support. Update 3. I have always tried to do what I can to stay engaged with all of you and to respond as often as possible. Truth of the matter is that I hit a brick wall. Between everything with my parents, being sick and then the bridezilla, I just kinda lost all my motivation to keep the conversation going. But I will say this. I read all of your comments, every one of them, and there are not enough words in any language to say thank you for all the amazing support, feedback and suggestions. I am truly grateful for everything all of you brought to the table. I went back to my lawyer the other day and told him everything. I told him I only had her name but I did not have her address, and since he has resources that I wanted him to find her and send her a cease and desist letter to not contact me. He was looking into this. The good news. Claire has been terminated. While I am not able to talk about all of the details, I can say that this goes a lot deeper than what she did to me, and after Kim did some digging it brought out some information that could have put our hospital in a serious position. When this information was brought out in the open, it gave the director of emergency nursing, DEN, no choice but to terminate her, and it could put the DEN in a serious position as well. Honestly, it has Kim, Laura and myself looking at potentially looking for new jobs if this doesn't get properly corrected. None of us want to change hospitals, because then we have to start all over with seniority and benefits. It's a last resort, but it's still something to consider. I guess I can say that this is closed. At least I hope it is. I need to move on with my life. I doubt that Claire will be dumb enough to contact me. She is in enough trouble and this would only make it worse. Again, I apologize for not being able to keep up with responding back to all of your comments, but again, I can assure you that I read all of them and value all of them as well. Thank you again for the amazing support. Commenter, can you give any further info about what you learned about her? Had she been moved as a result of something similar? Obviously you have to be vague, but she sounds wackadoodle. Oop, I honestly don't know much of her personal self. But some of the problems that we are having come to find out was things she was doing when it came to her job and what she was doing wrong. Kim, Laura or myself had nothing to do with getting Claire fired. Claire got herself fired. I'm not sure what I should put on here. So I'll say this much, the question was brought up with Claire's transfer. She went from med-surg to ER. This never happens. The ER is such an intense experience that you have to start in ER at the beginning of your career. It's a 8-week training program while still doing orientation. With that being said, going from ER to med-surg happens often. So naturally when someone comes from med-surg it raises some questions and eyebrows. So basically what was found out was that Claire in her own way committed assault towards a patient and falsified the patient's charts. The med-surg director knew of this, as did the DEN, and it was swept under the rug. We are learning that she may have done this to a patient in the ER as well. I was asked to be in a wedding and I had no interest in attending. I told her 3 times no in a polite manner, but she refused to take no for an answer. I finally forcefully told her no. Then she did what my parents have done to me for my entire life. She reduced me to a play toy and referred to me as her token gay bestie. This is hardly the case. We never hung out at any time and I never wanted to. I have no kind of attachment to this woman, so when I say no, I'm saying no for a reason. Had she just accepted my responses, then most likely none of this would have ever happened. // a 14-gauge needle/4 catheter is the biggest that you can use. If they are ever used, it's mostly on EMS sites, and if it's being used, it's usually for rapid infusion or the patient is shutting down and you need to get fluids in a hurry and can't get a vein with the standard size. Realistically, you should never have a reason to use a 14-gauge. And if you do, in my opinion, then you better have 3 other people with you to help do this. I hope in my lifetime I never have to use one. Also, the HIPAA notice. It's one of the first things you learn at the beginning of nursing school or med school. Basically, HIPAA is keeping a patient's privacy. What you can do is talk about the case as long as you don't reveal any information regarding the patient's identity. Also, opening a patient's file that you have no reason to open and also a violation of HIPAA as well. These are serious offenses and could result in loss of license. With that being said, take this information and do with it what you will and form your own opinion. Now on to second story. Cheated with my fiancé's high school rival at my bachelorette party, and now guilt is eating away my wedding plans. My fiancé, Alex male, 32, and I 28 have been together for 4 years and were supposed to get married on the 28th of December. We had our bachelor/bachelorette parties last weekend because everyone was in town for the holiday. That's why we're having the wedding on the 28th. Everyone will be here anyway for the holiday, so coming to the wedding won't be a big thing. Alex is everything I want in a man. Editor's note, at first, she wrote Jake is everything I want in a man. She edited it once comments pointed it out. He's kind. He's funny and charming. He's tall and handsome. He's helpful. He's a leader. He's successful at his work with a great future. He's really thoughtful. One time, we were shopping and I looked at this butterfly decoration just in passing, and later on I got it for my birthday. He remembered that I liked it and went back and bought it for me and surprised me with it. Our sex life is very satisfying to me, and I think to him as well. He's not perfect, of course, and we have our disagreements like any other couple, but we're great together. I feel safe and loved with him. When we first got together, the subject of our past partners came up. I didn't have a lot of past partners as all my relationships were long-term. I had 3 boyfriends before Alex. The previous one was Jake, fake name. Jake was gorgeous. He had a very magnetic personality and always dominated whatever room he walked into. I felt so lucky when he chose me to be his girlfriend. We had a very intense physical connection that I sort of lost myself in. In every other way, Jake was terrible. He cheated on me. He stood me up on multiple occasions. He forgot important events like my birthday and my best friend's engagement party. I finally broke up with him. He didn't seem to really care about it, though, which hurt. He just ghosted me when I said enough. The reason I mention this is because I told Alex about Jake. At first he didn't connect the dots, but when I described Jake, he asked me if it was Jake, last name. I said how do you know, and he told me that Jake had stolen his girlfriend from high school when they were all freshmen, in college. It really hurt Alex as he thought he would marry this girl. Jake later dumped her and she tried to get back with Alex, but Alex rejected her, telling me that she was disgusting. Alex was quiet around me for a few days after that, but he came around thankfully. During my bachelorette party last weekend, one of my bridesmaids, Claire, fake name, invited a bunch of our old friend group to the Airbnb we were renting as a surprise. I thought they had all moved away, but they showed up and yes, you guessed it, Jake was there too. I was pretty drunk, But I can't say I didn't know what I was doing. Jake was still really good looking and he talked only to me that night. He only flirted with me and no one else. He was charming and my inhibitions were down and we eventually went to a bedroom and we had sex. The next morning I was mortified. I told Jake that it meant nothing and he needed to leave and not get in contact with me again. Jake told me that he changed and was a serious person and serious about me. I told him to go and to please just shut up and leave. He seemed sad but he left. I made sure to make him swear to forget about it all and he did swear. I told Claire to keep quiet about it and to not tell anyone about Jake. She was the only one who really knew about our past relationship as she was part of the friend group. She agreed and said it was no big deal and one last fling before marriage. I think she was the only one who saw us go back to the bedroom but I can't be sure. All I know is that Jake and I were the least drunk people there and we were pretty drunk. Meanwhile it's been eating at me all the time. I can't sleep or eat. I'm afraid my wedding dress will be too big for me because I have this fear in the pit of my stomach and I throw up when I think about Jake and what I did, which is all the time I think about it all the time. I have to confess to someone, so I think a bunch of internet strangers is the easiest way to do it. I know I'm terrible and I know I F this up. I can't lose Alex. Why didn't I think of him when I was there last Saturday? Why didn't I consider Alex? I'm such a F at $king idiot. He's the best thing that ever happened to me and Jake is the worst. Alex has started to notice my changed attitude. I lied to him, again, and told him that I think I'm coming down with the flu and that he should stay away for a few days. Meanwhile I'm crying my eyes out in bed and Alex is being his usual great self and bringing me homemade chicken noodle soup his mom made. I can't tell him but I can't stand this. Does it go away over time? Update 1. Alex found out and he's done with me. I wanted to update everyone who read my original post, even though it's humiliating and painful. The truth is out, Alex knows, and the consequences have been worse than I could have imagined. I have no one to blame but myself. Thursday evening, Alex didn't come home after work. I thought maybe he was staying late, but around 9 p.m., I got a text from him. It was a photo of me and Jake kissing at my bachelorette party. No words. Just the photo. I panicked and immediately texted Claire, asking if she told Alex. She replied that he deserved to know the truth. I don't think she did it to be malicious. Maybe she was feeling guilty herself, but at that moment I was freaking out. I started spamming Alex's phone with calls and texts, begging him to talk to me. He left me on read. Then I logged onto social media and saw that Alex had posted that our wedding was cancelled because the woman I thought I was marrying turned out to be someone I didn't know. People started calling and messaging me, asking what was going on. I didn't know what to say. I panicked and lied, telling them we had a huge argument, but that we were working it out. Meanwhile, Alex was replying to comments under his post, saying things like, "She knows what she did, and there's nothing left to say." Friday night, Jake showed up at my apartment. He said he was sorry, claimed he didn't know Alex was my fiancé, and tried to explain himself. I told him it didn't matter. What we did ruined the best thing in my life, and I wanted Jake gone. I told him to leave and not come back. He tried to linger, saying something about how we could figure this out, but I slammed the door on him. He makes my skin crawl. Then, on Saturday morning, the hammer dropped. Alex's older brother, Mark, showed up with 2 of Alex's groomsmen. They knocked, came in, and started packing up Alex's things, his clothes, his personal items, even some of the furniture that belonged to him. I tried to talk to them, begging them to tell me where Alex was or how I could reach him, but they just ignored me or told me they didn't know where he was, which was probably a lie. Mark kept repeating that there was nothing to talk about. When they were done, Mark told me that Alex wanted me to keep the engagement ring. He said Alex didn't want it back because he had no use for it and selling it wouldn't make up for what had happened. He also told me Alex would be sending a check to cover my share of the cancelled wedding costs, and that his half of the lease was paid for. I begged Mark to at least put Alex on the phone with me and that he deserved some kind of closure by yelling at me and I'd at least be able to apologize where he could hear my voice. He just said Alex has all the closure he needs and to stop contacting him and just leave him alone and I've done enough. Mark used to be so kind to me, like a big brother. He was excited about the wedding, calling himself the future crazy uncle. Now he was cold and distant, talking like I was a stranger. That was when it really hit me. Alex was gone and my life was gone too. I can't afford to stay in the apartment. Alex paid the rent and utilities while I handled groceries, cooking, and chores. I don't make enough as a personal trainer to cover everything on my own, and I let my certifications lapse months ago because we planned on me being a traditional stay-at-home wife and mother after the wedding, which is something I really wanted. I've started packing my things and will be moving back in with my parents. I haven't told them the full story yet, just that the wedding is off. They've been supportive, but I know the full conversation is coming, and it's going to be excruciating. My friends are avoiding me, too. Some have unfollowed me on social media, and Claire hasn't responded to any of my messages since she told Alex. I don't even know how to begin rebuilding my life from this. I've lost everything that mattered to me because of one selfish, stupid decision. Alex was my rock, my future, and the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it all away for nothing. I betrayed him in the worst way possible, and I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life. He won't even talk to me. It's driving me crazy that I can't at least apologize to him in person. To Michael, real name, I know you'll never see this, I'm sorry. I know my apology means nothing, but I'll regret what I did for the rest of my life. You deserve so much better, and I failed you in every way that mattered. I know that when I'm old and gray, even if I find someone else, you'll always be in my heart. I love you to the moon and back, and I don't think I'll ever be able to love someone else the way I love you. There will always be some part of me that's always yours. Now, I have to figure out how to pick up the pieces. My life as I knew it is gone, and I have no one to blame but myself. Stop messaging me. I'm not reading them anyway. I've lost everything. There's no way you can make me feel worse than I already do. I'm barely hanging on to the will to live, here.